Welcome. Hello. Welcome to my podcast. This is The Life of Sadie Nichole, and I am Sadie Nichole. Um, Thank you for tuning in. Let me check the sound here. Okay. I think it's good. Okay. So thank you for tuning in. We are live right now. Actually, we are live right now on Rumble and YouTube and Twitch, and I have anyone who's wanting to communicate. Now I'm here. Um, this is an interactive. Uh, this is an interactive podcast because my life is living. That's why it's live. um, so I encourage the use of the chat. I've made it extremely interactive, and as well as interacting with anyone in the discussion as well. Um, so we are live after the show, though. Um, this podcast will be available not live, but recorded from here on Spotify, but not until Monday. Yeah. So, let's see. If you'd like to find me on the internet, other than this live stream and this podcast, I am on the interwebs. I do have an Instagram. That would be Instagram, and my name on there would be the Sadie Nichole, and on there I've got like a lot of content and stuff that I've got from my life. Hey, that's Seth, correct? Hey, Seth, I hope that you're having a wonderful day or morning or evening, depending on what time it is where you are. Um, I also have a Truth Social, and I'm on there like all the time. That being, um, I have other social sites. They're in the description below, but also my website, inspire, fun, slash Sadie Nichole, SADIENICHOLE. Um, that's where all of my links to everywhere, all over the internet. so that's so it's like instead of having all of them in the description, I just have like that link. Go to that link, and it has all my links. Um, if you're tuning in for the first time or second time, or you like the show and you've heard this before and you enjoy it, or if you're enjoying yourself, if you'd like to support my American dream, hit the like button, the follow button, the subscribe button. If you have Twitch, if you're on Twitch, and I believe if you have the Prime, if you have Twitch and you have like Amazon Prime or something, like you get free subscription or something like that. So it comes with Prime. So that's fun. It's cool. I'm always releasing new content. In fact, I'm working on some things right now, and when I release those things, I will release them on different platforms. So hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when I release my new content. Yeah, because also one of my goals is to be doing spontaneous live streams. And so if you hit the notification button, you will be privy to that and be able to tune into that. So let's begin. I've got some really good news. Well, good news for some and horrible news for others. I'm alive. So Otherwise, I have other good news, and that is, I went through the most intense week, right? Oh, Seth, thank you so much. I hope that you are too. Yeah, I feel blessed. I'm excited to be doing my podcast because it's me connecting, and I think that's what I need and what the world needs. So, um, anyway, this week is really interesting in terms of like growth, development, like self growth and stuff. Um, I had a massive breakthrough. I went like darkness, right? So I was super happy. Everything was just really, really good, really high vibration, like high frequency. And then something triggered something in my mind or in my heart, and I just like plummeted to hell, right? So I plummeted into the darkness from wherever I was on like cloud 8, cloud 9, somewhere around there. And I went head first into the darkness. And so that was fun. And in there, because the darkness is like the past, right? And so something triggered and like had a foothold on me from the past, and it yanked me down to hell with it. So I was there for a while and dealing with some things, but during that whole process, one, I became stronger. Two, I learned more about myself. And three, I overcame whatever that trigger was so that it can never happen again. Also, it was a breakthrough for me as an artist and as a writer. Um, I'm gonna check the sound real quick. It was a real breakthrough for me as an artist because I've been wanting to write a book, and I haven't. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so as a writer, I've been wanting to write my book, and I've had these blockages and stuff in my way, and it has to do with the darkness, with the past. And so whatever this that happened to me, it just like broke those chains off of me to where I can focus on writing my book. And I'm like really excited about it now. Like now there's like a ton of energy that was previously like blocked up. Now it's actually flowing towards, I call that the flow. So it's like life, right? So like life energy flowing toward bringing my book to life, right? So now I have all of these thoughts and these ideas and everything, and clarity and direction and everything that has to do with writing my book. So that's really awesome. I'm right now kind of tentatively planning at this point to start then writing my book in January. So that's I can't start it before then, although I would love to, because I'm studying and I want to finish my schooling. I want to get my finish my master's program, a master's degree in cybersecurity. I'm almost done with it, so I just want to finish that out so that it's not in the back of my head, and then I can fully focus on writing my book. So that's really cool. Huge breakthrough, huge announcement. I'm gonna write my book, The Life of Sadie Nichole. Like, although I've been thinking about it, it's probably gonna be more than one. Yeah, I can't squeeze everything into one book. There's no way. There's no way. Even if, and I was writing this in my server, like, even if it's the size of one of those Harry Potter novels, it's still, I would not be able to squeeze everything into one book. So at least I will begin to write my first book of the life of Sadie Nichole. So um, that's really exciting. Congrats on being so close to finishing your master's and overcoming that blockage. Yeah, thank you so much. Like it's been interesting. I was previously working on, see, all of this is part of self-growth. So it's like, it's part of my life journey, the life of Sadie Nichole. That's great news. Proud of you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the encouragement. So like, to me, my book represents me, and it's like I I knew that I would be able to get to the point of regurgitating my life into a book until I like healed from those experiences, because like the book is going to be extremely dark. It's very, very dark story. Extremely dark. So I knew that I had to actually overcome that darkness before I could actually like write about it, or else it would just be, you know. So it's like, it means in my self journey, I'm reaching those checkpoints of healing so that I can progress to the next level of my growth, my expansion of myself, so that I can share that with everyone. Oh, okay. Oh, oh, hey, that's a good idea. I could do that. Um, Although I might just chatting be also just like have a little screen here that's like my gaming, because I might be doing just chatting while I'm gaming. But what was I saying? So in a previous episode about expansion, it's like going from seed to a tree, and then from that, and that's already its own journey, you know. First of all, to go from a seed and like explode yourself, like I'm no longer just going to be only an individual in the darkness, right? Because the seed has to go into the darkness. Like I am no longer going to only be a little seed in the darkness. Like I'm going to explode myself. I'm going to not be a seed anymore. Explode, become something entirely different, a seedling, right? I'm sorry, a sapling. So then this thing becomes like, and then like pushes through the darkness, and it's like, holy crap, light. And it's like, oh yeah, great, light, except for, all right, then there's pests all over the place that love eating those things, right? Plus, there's snow, rain, wind, and all the other elements that would also just kind of like, just being themselves, destroy a little sapling, right? A little baby tree. So then it's like becoming this new thing, and like, oh man, I gotta be focusing on like rooting my roots in the darkness. I can't forget about my darkness. I gotta root myself in the darkness so that as the wind blows, I don't just like fall over and just like not exist anymore. So there's that process, right? And then and so that goes on continuously. And as the tree grows taller, the roots have to go deeper to hold it even, even more so against the elements. But then, and I think this is where I'm at, is like at the next step, which is not just having branches and not just having leaves, but then producing fruit, right? And so my book, to me, when I observe myself, and I observe myself as the garden that I am, which was also a previous episode, um, when I observe myself as the garden that I am, and as the plant that I am, my book is my fruit that I can share. Um, but all the rest of the things that I've been creating is kind of like a branch here and a branch there and a branch here, branch there. Um, and some of these branches are going to be stronger than others. And then, all these even other things that I've been creating, like let's say like little content here, content there, these leaves, you know. Um, but then the leaves, they fall off, and then there's nothing for a while, right? Winter, right? It's dark, it's cold, and then new stuff comes, And so I kind of I keep that in mind, like nature, and I keep that in mind, the cycles when I'm creating all of this kind of stuff. But my book, to me, is progressing to the next step, the next level of my self journey and my self growth to be actual fruit. Because this fruit, although when it's looked at might be the freaking color closest to black, right? It might look dark and scary, but it's actually very healing, right? So the fruit from my tree looks scary, but is does the opposite of scary. So that's the whole point. It's potentially anyway. I want it to be healing experience. So that's a huge announcement from me to my viewers, my listeners. It's coming soon, and I'm really excited about that. So, all right. So today, let's see. Hold on, I gotta move this so you can see. All right. So I am a multi-dimensional like being, right? Just like also those who are listening are most likely multi-dimensional beings. And so this word application it means many meanings. I'm a computer scientist, and so it to me means application, like a software, like a program, like something created in order to serve a purpose. This also for self journey, um, kind of in it goes two ways for me. Application of knowledge, just generally speaking, is called intelligence. So application in that way, that's still applicable in this. And then application of knowledge gained from experience, wisdom. So intelligence, wisdom, but also a system or application that is for my own mind because I do my own programming for my own mind, for my own mind. Um, because I'm responsible for my own mind. Maybe I wasn't when I was a child, but once I cross over into adulthood, it has now become my responsibility to be the master of my own mind and program my own mind for the purpose that I want it to serve. Um, so, in regard to self journey, self reflection, um, I like to think so. So that's what I want to talk about. Like, so I think about application of these things that I've learned and these experiences that I've had. I use them to better myself, to change the patterns of my decision making processes so that those decision making processes help me to accomplish my goals or like reach my goals or whatever. But in the same way, and I'm always going to come back to this. Hold on. Um, they're also like the wisdom I've gained or the intelligence that I've gained, I guess, both of in my life experiences and just my growth and my self growth. I actually use that also not to just better myself and my own programming in my own mind, but I also use it to improve my ideas or like my creations, right? Um, and my innovations, which includes my innovations and also my small business. Hey, cheers to capitalism. I know that's right. Mm. Capitalism for the win? Always. Yes. Yes. Nature is capitalist. Change my mind. You won't be able to. Okay. So hey Raymond from Australia, new here, just checking out the content discussion. Hello, I'm Sadie. We are talking about application and application and the meaning of application in multiple ways. So when I'm talking about my own self growth, my own self journey, and my own mind being a computer system, and in that computer system, it's got like the software and the application. I want to make sure that the programming is sound, right? Like, were there any like bad programmers that like got in there and like override, and like create this like crap program that like kind of slowly starts to erode the whole system? Like, is that in there? So, digging into my mind, like as a computer scientist and finding mental programming that was not I didn't put that there, you know? So I go in there and I look and it's like, "Oh, hey, Raymond, I hope that you're having a good time. I hope you enjoy the show." Um, so I go in there and I find like, okay, so there's programming in here that like, where did this come from? Like, did this come from my culture? Did this come from like my familial or like what was around me in my relatives and stuff like that? Like, did it come from that? Did it come from the television? Right? Like, did it come from just like a passerby? Um, our brain is like a computer, a sponge as kids to learn. Right. I totally agree with that. But the thing is about being a sponge though, is it absorbs everything. So that would be like a system or an application system being open for anybody to change the program, to change the code. Well, if you have like maniacal characters going in there and changing the code, what do you think is going to happen, right? So I had to go and find if there was any like code that was in there that I absorbed as a sponge that shouldn't be there, or even just like viruses or bloatware or anything, like I just go in there and just like clean house. Like, okay, I got to break this down, you know, um, and get to the most like basic. I'm going, I'm going to the BIOS, right? Like, hey B, what's up? How are you? I hope all is well. Hey, cheers. Um, but I had to go in there and like I'm going all the way to the BIOS. I'm going all the way to the machine language to make sure even that is not all jacked up, right? Um, it's been a while. How are you? Oh, I'm good. I'm blessed. That's wonderful that you're doing good. It has been a while. I know it's not fall yet, like autumn, which is when I really start doing some stuff. But yes, it's wonderful to hear that you're doing good as well. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out with me. Cheers to life. Just doing some discussion about the brain. But so I'm going to the BIOS. I'm making sure that even like the registers and everything is sound, and you know how everything is being compiled, like is that sound, and then from there it's like, is there any wonky stuff going on with like the file system, like is there any wonky stuff going on with just like the display, like come on, like because I could tell that there was stuff in my mind that was like all the way to the BIOS. There was some just crap code in there that was causing the system to not function correctly, and so no one's responsible for doing that but me. Like, I cannot give that responsibility to anybody except for myself, like maybe when I was a kid, no, but I have to do it now. Yes, this is why kids are targeted, to confuse them. When we hit adults, we have to reprogram ourselves. LOL. I know that's right. Like that's totally true. And taking that responsibility though, like, oh, it was a lot, but it was like got virus. Wait, that's good to hear. You got a virus? I'm so sorry. Um, that's terrible. Okay, so taking on responsibility, that's its own step. Okay, like, and to me, it's like it's like choking down acceptance of just like, this sucks. I can tell that I got a lot of work to do. Man, there's no easy way to do this, right? I go the long. There is only one way, and it's the long way. It's the scenic route through the dark forest, right? So I'm like, oh. so so anyway, so that's what I've been doing, like removing bad programming, programming with an agenda. Now that some of that actually ran deep into childhood, so it's like some of that had deep, deep roots. Some of that was programming with an agenda from individuals, but some of it was programming with an agenda, generally speaking, from like a shotgun blast type of propaganda type of thing. And it's like I had all of that, right, going on all up in here. Right. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have to remove all of this. And then um and then the natural pathways that are created because of trauma. So trauma creates pathways in the mind that are not correct. So it's like we have our own like machine learning, like or artificial intelligence. We ourselves are kind of like that, to where it's like, oh, this experience happened, so my system, kind of like artificial intelligence or like machine learning, whatever, is gonna like it's been programmed by, I don't know, the creator to, after an experience happens like that, or in the middle of the experience happening, depending on the level of trauma, it goes, oh, I need to program, like I need to write this code or automatically generate this code to be the next line of code for the next time something like this happens. So I've got this like basically artificial intelligence inside of my mind making its own code to kind of like keep my machine running, but it's a little dodgy. All right, it's a little jacked up. Okay, it's not perfect like written code. So then I'm finding all these like codes that are like, no, like that's not a good train of thought. Like that's not a good pathway, right? That's because that'll lead to this and this. But an artificial intelligence or a machine learning algorithm or something like that, like it doesn't know, right? It only knows what it's like supposed to do. So what it's programmed to do. So maybe it was like a fail safe, to try to protect my mind, being the machine itself, from being destroyed by a virus that comes from that trauma or something like that. So that was just really interesting to have to like go through. I still go through it sometimes when these triggers, like earlier when I was discussing that, like happens. I still have to go in and like, oh crap, right? Like that's not a good pathway. I gotta like delete that code, right? But I also, before I do that, I have to like find out where that's connected to any other code that was also written that connects that whole pathway, and make sure it's not going to like shut down the whole thing. Like, I got to like freeze it. So I've been doing that, and that's just like wild. It helps when we are told the truth so we can make the right choices. And that's the thing. See, I believe, this is my own personal like thing about honesty, is that in order to make the greatest possible choice for ourselves, we have to have the maximum amount of truth. But if we don't have the maximum amount of truth or information at our disposal, then we can't make the greatest possible choice, because we're working with redacted data. All right. So we're working with like, like an encrypted message, All right. And we don't have, and it's kind of choppy, so we're working with like a choppy encrypted message and trying to make a decision. Um, so that's why I believe in my moral center to give as much truth as I can at any time, so that whoever is receiving the truth, that might be the missing, redacted, or choppy part of the message that they were missing. It might complete the whole thing. Who knows? Where they can actually have complete what I call clarity, and then they can make the best decision that they can. 100% right. It's so important for us all. Right. But that goes to, you know, having a, like, I'm a very heart person, right? My heart was my brain for most of my life, because I went through so many traumatic things that I kind of like cut my head off, right? I cut off access to my brain, to my mind. Like, it was survival instincts and my heart only. That's what I ran on for a lot of my life, until I finally realized, all right, it's time. I got to go into my mind. And it's like a labyrinth. So it's like a dark, cold labyrinth with very scary things in there. So I had to, like, all right, I gotta leave the comfort of my heart. All right, even though it was also broken, I had to go into my mind and like clean house, and a connection between the heart and the mind, so that I can communicate. Um, so I'm a very heart person, and so when it comes to truth, I can look at it objectively and like, oh, generally speaking, like an objective standpoint is like giving truth to anyone at any time is just like is a good idea, because it sets success. It sets them up for success in decision making processes. To me, that's kind also, you know. Um, so it's like I can't help it. Like, yeah, objectively speaking, but then I go, oh, but it's kind. So because I always come back to the heart. It's like the golden rule, like treat others the way you want to be treated. So it's like, what would I want? I would want somebody to give me maximum amount of truth, because then I'd be able to plug it into my also very dodgy encrypted message to make sure that I can see the whole thing, which is like clarity, so that I can make the best decision that I possibly can, for myself. Um, anyway, so I had to go in, and so when I'm looking at application, I'm applying the knowledge that I gained, right, through truth, or information, data, and I'm going on my experiences, so I'm going on wisdom to fix the application that is the operating system that is in my mind, and the software also in there. So honesty, what I found is honesty with self, right? And this kind of goes hand in hand with like acceptance, which is pretty tense for me sometimes. Um, but honesty with self helps me to identify the programming. So instead of taking on the programming as my identity, and then being offended when I'm looking at the programming, like I'm judging myself. But it's not me. It's just the programming. It's not my identity. So I have to detach from it so that I can look at it and be honest with myself. And that's how being honest with myself and looking at the programming, as soon as I get offended by myself looking at myself, I'm like, or by myself being honest with myself, I'm like, oh, I'm identifying with this. Like, whatever this is I'm looking at, I'm taking it on as this is my identity. Okay, hold on. Rip, like rip it off of me. Like, oh, it was just just a layer of skin. Like, oh, so like, I rip it off of me, and then I look at it and like, oh, this was not my identity after all. Oh, what was this? Well, this was programming. Where did this come from? Like, look at the back, made in China. Just kidding. I hear you. We go into the depths of our souls quite often, asking why me. You know, someone. says, instead of saying why me, say try me. And that is strength, right? To say it like that, because then it is empowering us to perceive our most heroic self instead of um saying why me is more like perceiving ourselves as a victim and weak, right? Now, I'm when it comes to strength and weakness, that's going to be a pattern. That's going to be something that you will hear from me a lot because my story has a lot to do with strength and weakness and the all of that. So I as soon as I start noticing that myself is saying why me, I'm like, hold up, what's going on? I'm facing something that's not me. So like, oh, this experience is not me, but for some reason I carry it as my identity in my face. Like, no, wait, this is not me. Like because me, who I am or who I choose to be, is not the victim. I'm not going to be a victim. Like, if I'm a victim, then that means that I have to have a hero, and the only hero is the one that's within me, right? Love. So even so, it's still my choice to allow love to be heroic to me, right? And that's a whole different thing, which I can go into later about like surrender and all this stuff. Um, I put it into the palm of my hand and I blow it away. I haven't asked the question in years, why me? That's good. That's a good one. That's blow it away. That's really good because it lets you see that it isn't having power over you. But at first, it kind of feels like that. I also see it like a parasite, right? Like I see it as like a parasite attaches to the host, and the parasite has its own consciousness and its own life, right? And while it's attached to the host, it's gotta be like communicating something. Like I would suggest that a parasite is very fearful of its own life to continue, and also fearful for the life of the host to also continue. So when I hear the voice of a victim, I know that I just found a parasite on me. And it's trying to convince me that that voice is my own voice, but it's actually the voice of a parasite. So I got to rip that sucker off, right? I rip that sucker off of me because parasites, all they do is just take my energy. They take my extra, whether it's sucking the blood out of me, all right? A parasite just takes, right? But it doesn't produce anything good. So it's like, get off of me. Like, oh, victim, there's a parasite in my midst. Where are you? I'm going to remove you, right? Because I don't think like a parasite, but I know what does think like a parasite, and it's a parasite. um, and so also like bad programming sounds kind of like that too, right? Like, where did this come? Like programming with an agenda sounds like a parasite, and I'm like, no, thank you. Um, 100% right. It's in us. Only we can do it. Right. But that empowers us. That helps us to see ourselves as the hero that we are, because we get to choose every moment who we are or who we want to be. That's at least that's for me. That's how I lived my life. Like, yeah, really crappy stuff happened to me. But in every one of those moments I got to choose. But but who am I? Like, but what kind of character am I? You know? And well, I want to be a heroic character. Okay, so how would a heroic character respond to this current situation and circumstance or crisis or whatever? And it's like, well, a hero wouldn't do that. So that is at least what I'm not going to do. Okay. So I kind of use deductive reasoning, like, well, I don't really know what a hero would do because I'm not a hero, because I didn't see myself as a hero. But I know that a hero wouldn't do that. So at least if I don't do that, I'm getting closer to being a hero then, right? And that's kind of just how I just do that often, right? I just made a habit of doing that and attach that habit to the rest of my survival skills. And so it became habitual for me to make courage and to make choices of bravery. I didn't know that's what that was. I just knew that I just didn't want to be that, which would be like slimy or a victim or anything. I didn't want to be that. Like, I don't want to be that when I grow up. So I want to try to get away from it by making choices that are different than that? So that's yeah. Um okay. So being honest with myself helped me to identify programming, and remove the stuff that I didn't want there. And then when I did that, I had so much extra space. I had so much extra space in my mind. I think whatever we go through, it can break people or it can make us stronger, right? And I think sometimes we were meant to go through things to learn. I agree, to learn and to refine our character. And that's how I see it. That's why I want to write a book, because I believe the things that occurred didn't happen on accident. And perhaps it's my duty to communicate those things into the form of a book, because there might be somebody that needs to read it and is just waiting on me, right? Who knows? Because I know in my life, while I was going through things like that, there were things that other people had written that I needed that to have existed for me to keep going. So, but if that person didn't go through that and then didn't write that, then I wouldn't have been able to read that. Then who knows where I am right now. So I feel like, kind of like pay it forward. I feel like that same thing. Like, I must have gone through all of these things so that I could help. Well, how can I help? By communicating that I went through all of these things and that I'm still alive, And I think that could be helpful, because it was helpful to me when someone else did it. So kind of, yeah, pay it forward kind of thing. Um, so anyways, when I was honest with myself and I like removed all this programming, like crap programming or whatever, like then I had all this space, and then I put programming then in that space. You're like, hey, I got plenty of space to make like new, better program, do cool stuff for me, right? Like making the decision to eat nutrition instead of eating crap, right? So like that was a program that I had to program into myself. And I put that there on purpose. So then I know for a fact when I go back and I check and I be honest with myself, like, hey, what is this programming? Oh, I put that there. Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah. Oh, thank God that I put that there. So like, and I like to look at my programming and my decision making and my thought process and stuff to make sure that like, oh yeah, I remember putting that there. Yeah, yeah, I put that there on purpose. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't I didn't put that there. Where the heck did that come from? Before I figure out where it came from, like I need to get it out, pull it out. Like, what is this? This is not mine. This did not originate from me. Did this originate from nature? No. Okay, now I'm going to be an investigator. I'm going to investigate where this came from, but it definitely doesn't belong in here. So I'm going to go ahead. It belongs in the trash, but before I put it in the trash, put it in this little beaker. Right? Or I'm going to put it in this little petri dish. I'm going to look at it. right? Because I would like to investigate and find out where this came from. Right? And perhaps alert others. Hey, I just identified this really crap. Um, and it comes from here. So like, heads up. Okay? 100%. Only those who have lived it can honestly put truth and feeling into a written book, so others can really understand the mind power we have. Live loving life. Nice. Yes. And that's also why I focus on quality of life overall. Quality of life overall. And in that, I think I always make the point of peace and joy, right? Peace and joy. Because those two things everybody wants, but they're not something that can be bought. They're only something that can be generated organically from within. So, quality of life overall includes those two things. And quality of life overall could be in any status, right? Life status or society status, and still have those two things. I know it because I've lived it at least in little bits. Little bits, little pieces, little time frames between healing or between going through little dark periods. So I know that it doesn't require a certain status in order to have joy and peace, but it is what everybody wants. So when I focus on my overall quality of life being at nearly 100%, if I can get it there, that's what I'm talking about, joy and peace. And joy and peace is also healing when it is within. So when it's within someone and someone is radiating peace and radiating joy, it actually like it's like contagious. It's like it's um contagious. That's a terrible. It's like it's a healing. It's not destructive, it's healing. So it spreads, right? Um and not like wildfire in that it consumes. It more is like water in that it's compassionate. But joy and peace in terms of quality of life overall, if I can if I can get to there, to that platform of consciousness or that level of consciousness or that frequency or that vibration, if I can get there and hold that down, and I mean be solid, not like flicker in and out of that reality, all right? But like be stable in that reality with those two things, then it would be more of an impact when I'm writing my book of where I came from, what I went through, and where I got to. It's the difference in hell and heaven, right? And that contrast and that possibility and my being an example and evidence that it's possible, that could do wonders. And that's my goal. That's what I'm reaching for. That's what I'm reaching for in all of my focusing on my self journey and my self growth. So, uh, oh, also being going through the programming, I also identified goals that I did not make. How did I have goals inside of me that did not originate they did not originate from my little girl self, right? Like, where do these goals come from? I went on in life and I achieved a bunch of goals that weren't even mine, and I'm like, "Oh, that's great. Well, at least I know that I have the ability to achieve goals," but those were not I didn't create those goals. Did I just waste my time? Like, I learned, so, like, I learned and I grew and I got experiences and stuff, but, yeah, so that was fun. Um, so when it comes to, let's see, cleaning house, all right, removing all of the crap, all of the bloatware, all of the bad programming, and all of that, I came down to the the bare essentials of the system, the operating system that is my mind, right? And removed as many other extra systems that I did not need, and basically was just left with a shell. Okay. Like so um this is just like computer science. Like, it's funny. Anyway, so I get there and then I'm like, all right, now from what foundation do I want to like build my programming then? And I talk about this a lot though, but like I start from the most basic human existence. The most basic. On Maslow's pyramid of hierarchical needs, the very bottom, right? Like which is just like survival. Like basic like ugh and grok. All right. Cave people. Like the most basic human level. Like all I need to do is just like stay alive, right? Stay alive and like find food, water, shelter. Don't die, right? From there, then um programming my natural instincts, natural. I had to like reprogram all of this of myself because things that I thought were my natural responses were actually bad programming. Um or pathways that were from trauma, created from trauma. So I had to remove all that and so go back to the most basic human existence, then go to nature, right? And then also implement nature and all the elements of nature and the cycle of life of nature and implement that as a programming within my mind so that I myself am on this cycle nature. And that's why I with like content that I create or this includes like my website. My website changes with the seasons and my creations and what I release and stuff change with the seasons. So because I did that on purpose so that I could stay in tune with my connection to nature because no matter what I build myself into or no matter what everything around me is built as, if it was all destroyed in the blink of an eye, I would go back to being the most basic human existence and being in cycle with nature. Now, when I began this, I was actually living outside. So it was easier for me to focus on that and getting in tune with being just in the cycles, the flow of nature. Then what I started to program um, was basically my connection into society. Quality of life comes down to being able to let the crap go in one ear and straight out the other and only store what we want, right? But the storage, it it fills fast, you know, unless you have extra storage somehow. Um, and don't worry about what happened yesterday. Always move forward. Yeah, always move forward is like a survival instinct. That is the most basic human level. Is like no matter what happens, always move forward. If you wake in the morning, be happy. If you get into bed, be happy. You've just lived another day on this earth. Right. See, but that thought process is not necessarily in everyone. That thought process goes beyond survival because survival has a lot of fear attached to it. And then from there, you have to add that. You have to add that programming in there of gratitude, right? And see the blessings or the miracles. And that's not taught. That's not taught anywhere, right? It's suggested here and it's suggested there, and it's very cryptically suggested through this book and through this community, but it's not like taught. Some families that is a place where it can be taught. Some families teach that. Not all families teach that. from my experience, families teach what to complain about, right? And finding the problems. Now, that is a blown up version of more of a survival thing and more of a human thing, which is finding a problem because we are built to be solutioners, right? And so like we are built to find problems, identify problems, and then like find a solution. That's innovation. Now it becomes innovation. So we're created to do that. So that is a basic human level instinct, is to kind of like be drawn to the negative. But we're not drawn to the negative to just only observe it. We're drawn to the negative to either observe it, stay away from it, like a poisonous spider, or observe it and fix like a wound, right? Um, or heal it and fix it. Healing it is fixing it. To me, that's the same. It's just two words to describe like the same thing. So, but that has to be taught. Where is that taught? It's not taught anywhere. It's not taught in school. Where is that taught? So it's great that you have that programming within you, but you had to have put that there. Or somebody that really loves you put that there, you know? Um, only those who have been to hell and back can understand how beautiful life is. It goes fast. It's true. It's true. And that's kind of also like a huge part of my character and my life story and my book and everything is some people, and I've experienced this in life, I can reach a level of joy that is unmatched. I can reach a level of joy that doesn't make any logical sense at all to anybody. And the only ones that can understand my level of joy is like a really small child, okay, that has that explosive excitement about life. I can reach that level of joy, and I have. And when I reach that level of joy, because I'm a grown up and I'm around other grown ups, and I reach that level of joy, they get so freaked out because it seems so inhuman and wild that they attack, like physically, like I've like physically been attacked for having too high of a level of joy. So, but what they didn't understand is me and what I've been through. And I've been through the deepest and darkest, that end of the spectrum. Your your ability to reach the other end of the spectrum, you're able to, because you've been to the deepest darkness. You know how amazing and blessed the light is, right? And warm. So they didn't understand why or how I was even like that, like excited and joyful about life. They just wanted to just like, oh my God, like what is wrong with you, you know? But it's because I had been to hell. So that's kind of that a lot of has to do with my character, where I can be like super joyful and happy and like and all this stuff, but it's because of where I've been. So I know how to dance in the light of the sun. I know how to like be super happy that the sun is even shining and that the sun is even there. Okay. I know how to be happy for that because I know what it's like to have just only one tiny flicker of light that looks like a very far away star, that if I turn a certain way, it disappears so freaking far away. And that's in light. That's how, I've been in such darkness. So when I am in a place where that star is now a sun, you know, and it's close, and it's like I will dance there, right? Um, yeah, it's like, but totally, life can be so beautiful because of also the um. So I started the most basic human level. Then I go to like the net nature and like my connection to nature and like cycles. Then I start programming like a connection to society. But I want the programming to be, I want my connection to society to be, I don't want it to be what I've been told that it should be. I want it to be what, yeah. So then then I move up to the next. The next is cultural norms. I program my own cultural norms, what I think are cultural norms that are healthy. And I think those are community and connection and communication, encouragement, encouraging the American dream, small business. Yeah, that to me is a beautiful, healthy cultural norm. And I think if that was adopted on a large scale, I think that that would be very beneficial for everybody in a short, medium, and long term. That's what I think. That's just what I think. um, but in order to do these things, okay, like I had to actually find the programming that was like societal influence, cultural norms. What am I like without that? What is my basic human character like without societal influence, without cultural norms, without electricity or running water? Like what am I like? And that's how I basically got down to the most basic human existence and then built myself up from there. Like pre-television, pre-technology, like what was life like before technology and everything? Like, because I want to structure my mind, my computer, my application, my software, my operating system to be as close to before technology as possible, because technology then to me is a luxury, right? And I want it to be a luxury because I want to celebrate it instead of like be afraid of it or be dependent on it. I want to rather celebrate that it exists and is a beautiful luxury for me. Because at any time, for many reasons, especially that are very apparent now, it could disappear, right? And if it disappears, then what am I? If I've completely based myself on that, that is part of the foundation and fundamental, description of my existence and my programming, then I'm screwed, and I don't want to be screwed by that, like disappearing. I would rather be like, oh, that sucks. I just lost that luxury. Oh well, I can still smile and I still know how to like life. Right? Crazy. You sound like me, lol. I'm loving life to the fullest. I wasted 30 years on my head full of crap. 20 years now. Life has been great, but still has ups and downs. Take everything in a positive way. That's awesome. Like, I'm so glad that we connect on that way, on that level. That's good. The connection. Um, yeah, like, but all of the crap, the head full of crap, helped you learn, hopefully what to avoid. Or uh, I know that thought process. I lived that one for like 10 years. Yeah, that one doesn't work. Bye. Right? Like, um, it makes us more resilient to the things that no longer serve us, right? But just like pester. Um, so like, what is life like before technology? What was life like before television? What would I be like if there was none? And then like, what would I be like after? It's like, well, it is awesome. I do like to be in it, right? But I don't want to be reliant on it because then I've got these people that I don't even know. I've never met. I've never met these people and they're programming my mind. Dude, hey, it's like I have an open mind to some extent, but that's going a little bit far. It's mine. You're not allowed to just like go in there and do stuff. Nah, I mean, I don't even know you. I'm sure you mean well, maybe. I don't really know though, I can only take your word for it, and based on your word for it is only based on what you show me, and that's great marketing. Awesome for you. Um, I still don't know you though. So time, let's see, time, energy, focus, processing power. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So if I did not remove all of this from my crap makes us stronger. Well, crap is the compost that helps feed our plants. um, freedom and free thinking is a must. I know that's right. Because, well, man, I should just do a whole thing about freedom because there's so many levels to freedom and free thinking. Um, but that's the thing, like with free thinking though, it's up to us to decide what we want to let in as truth and what we don't want to let in as truth. It's up to us. That's our freedom. That's our choice. You know, some people let into their mind as truth. I'll give you an example. They let into their mind as truth that love is a feeling. Okay, that's the truth. Others let into their mind as truth that love is an actual living being. Two different things. Some people let into their mind as truth that love is an idea. But the thing is that we are free to decide what we want to let in, you know? Some people think this is a good application to download. Some people think that it takes up too much space. Some people think that this is a good application to download, and some people think that that just like infests the whole system with viruses and it's not worth it, you know? So it's up to us, you know, to have that freedom. But um time, energy, focus of processing power. So if I did because that's what I noticed. Oh my gosh. I noticed that when I started to go inside of my mind and remove the bad programming, love hurts, LOL. And that's, you know, everybody gets to perceive however they want. That's the thing is like perception. Like everybody gets to decide what is their perception. I want to have as clear of a perception as possible. Although I am, I am a, I was, you know, one of them that like never takes off the rose colored glasses ever. So I've learned how to take them off and not pick them up and put them back on again. But I yeah, just want to have just clear perception of everything. Um, so when I started removing the bad programming inside of my mind and holy crap, like first of all, I had like so much space inside of my mind to apply whatever programming I want, whatever system I want, but I actually had a ton of energy because apparently I don't know why this is still in my ear. Excuse me while I remove something out of my ear. Um, apparently when I had all of that programming inside of my mind, it actually breaker. It actually took up processing power. And it actually took up like my energy. So like my physical body's energy was going towards programming that was not good or like pathways that were that didn't really make sense. Like it was like processing just like in a computer if you have too many like programs, right, running, then the computer starts running slow. And then so then when you're trying to do something on the program, then then the program starts to slow down. It's because these other programs are open and running. It was doing the same thing in my mind. My body was running slower, as in like I was like lethargic and stuff because all of my power was going towards running these programs that I didn't even put there. So when I removed them, all of a sudden I had like a ton of energy. Like I had no idea so much of my physical energy, my physical body energy was going towards processing power in my computer system essentially. You feel free when crap removed. I know that's right. Um, Like recycle the crap, use it as compost, or get it out of here, you know? Yeah, I definitely feel free, and I felt so much free, like, literally, it freed up all that space, um, in my mind, but also, like, it freed up all of the processing power for me to do other things with my body, and which I use my hands to do things, build things, create things, but I didn't have any extra energy to use my hands to do all those things because it was going towards all the processing power to run programs that I didn't even think of. So, yeah, moving the programming and the bloatware changed my life. It changed everything. It changed everything. Changed my life. So, yeah. Wow. We went through all that and didn't even have like uh, a break. Sorry about that. Or maybe I'm not sorry about that. Um, oh, here it is. Thank you for listening. That was, I just kept going, going and going and going. Like the Energizer Bunny. See, I just had like so much energy. It was just like removed so much. I just have like a lot of free space. Um, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me and for being a part of my podcast and the conversation. Raymond, that was awesome. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're, I can't tell if you're on, oh, you're on Rumble. Yeah, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification button. I'll be putting a lot more stuff on here. But if you'd like to talk to me, I don't do direct messages or anything like that. But if you would like to talk to me, ask me questions, or just like tell one-liners and just like be silly, find out what I'm up to, go ahead and find my Discord server. The link should be in the description. Um, and accept the invite, and then you'll arrive in my universe. And when you arrive in my universe, you can talk to me. And that's where I'm at all the time. I don't do direct messages on any other platform or anything like that. I do chat when I do live streams, and I am in my server. That's where I communicate. So, um, live anyway, that's like in real time. Um, if you have Substack or Medium, find my blog and subscribe to it so that you get notified when I release new content there, which is going to be soon. The Life of Sadie Nichole, that's the blog. Um, and if you would like to find out where I am all over the interwebs, um, I have a link with all of my links. Also, this link has all my links wherever I am all over the internet. But it also has my calendar. So I update my calendar of the different things that are coming up that I'm going to be doing, usually live stream type productions. So that is at InspireFun / Sadie Nichole. Inspire is spelled INSPYR .fun / Sadie Nichole. And that's where all my links are. That's where my events calendar is, and I keep that updated every month. And so you should be privy to all the different things I'm doing in the month. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Life of Sadie Nichole podcast live. If you enjoyed my show, please be sure to subscribe, follow, and show some love in the comment section below. Rest day is coming up tomorrow. I put reminders in the events calendar and on my website. The link is in the description below also. And yeah, I just finished creating some really cool merch to rep my podcast, and it's also available. So score some merch and join me while I'm gaming, and I might turn it into like a gaming chatting sesh because that's a really good idea actually on rest day. But I do like to game on rest day, but I also like to connect and like just be social on rest day. It's when I do like as much of nothing as possible. So it's on Sundays. Yeah, and so we will be live right around. It'll be after 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Rumble, YouTube, and Twitch. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful and blessed day, afternoon, morning, evening, depending on where you are when you're listening to this. And may all of your dreams come true. Tune in next time for another episode of the Life of Sadie Nichole podcast. See you later.